Welcome back to our special. Do politics belong in the church? We'll flip it around too. Does the church belong in politics? Right now, we are in the beginning stages of what I believe is a type of conservative revolution. And it's a wonderful thing. And I agree with it politically in nearly every way. There's a great realignment happening globally and here in America. And I'm all here for it. But what's becoming more and more clear is that it's not even close to enough. Not even close. I love Doge. If you listen to my show on SiriusXM Patriot, it's like the Doge show, okay? We're talking about Doge all the time. I'm all about it. It's amazing. But we cannot save this nation just by having a federal government that's more efficient. Like, think of like the craziest, like even if you got rid of the IRS, which is like the greatest thing ever, that's not it. That's not it. We all want to do it. But that's not going to save us. The only way we can save our country is by being a more virtuous people. That's it. The only way we can save this country is if we save souls along the way. We need a real revival. We need a revival. We need an awakening. Doge is amazing. It's not the answer. But to get our country back and to have that revival, it requires us to be bold. The church for a long time has been very nice, right? It's the Jesus holding a lamb and the baby Jesus and like this little nice Christianity thing. And in doing it, they've compromised so much truth. And you become just worthless, absolutely worthless. Rick Warren is an example of this. Pastor of Saddleback Church in Orange County, California. For a very long time, he was like the very palatable evangelical in the media, right? The media loved him because he didn't tell them the truth. Now, he wrote this tweet. He deleted it a couple days after, but it exemplifies the worldview that he's had for a long time and that's been way too prominent in the church at large. And if you read John 17, it's all about Christians not being of this world. And you're going to face persecution by people in the world, right? And there's nothing more of the world than the media, like the American lefty media. And when the media lifts up Rick Warren as one of their own, I saw there was Oprah put out her list of top 10 greatest spiritual leaders of today. And there was a Christian pastor on that list. And you're like, oh man, that's a list you don't want to be on. If your pastor's on the list of Oprah's top 10 spiritual leaders with like a couple Buddhists, and right, like don't be on that list, like leave that church. So Rick Warren, anyway, he wrote this on Twitter. He said they crucified Jesus with two others, one on each side, and Jesus in the middle. The guys on both sides were thieves. And if you're looking for the real Jesus, not a caricature disfigured by partisan motivations, you'll find Jesus in the middle, not on either side. Signed, your Uncle Screwtape. No, wait, it signed Rick Warren. What? So because Jesus was in the middle of the three crosses, we therefore need to reject the Democrat and Republican policy positions on issues? Like, do you see how absurd that is? Like, that's such a spineless squish. Don't take a stand. Don't ever admit that any party might be politically right on a moral issue because, heaven forbid, you may be seen as partisan and then that's bad, so better don't stand for anything ever. So, okay, how are you going to be in the middle? How are you going to be in the middle on abortion? How are you going to be in the middle of homosexuality? How are you going to be in the middle of transgender and kids? There's no middle of those issues. Jesus was never in the middle when it came to telling the truth. He told it boldly, got him killed. The idea, like, I just bring up this Rick Warren tweet because this is like the archetype. Like Rick Warren's like the archetype of spiritual guidance that so many Christians in America have gotten for decades. And it's like, oh, like that, like, it makes perfect sense why we are where we are. We got to stop with this middle ground nonsense. We need to be people of conviction. Being in the middle means you're just going to go with the flow. That's what that is. You're going to go in the flow. You're going to go with whatever culture says. You're going to go with whatever's safe. You're going to go with whatever doesn't get you in any trouble. That is so worthless. We don't need that at all. You are in the way, or if not worse, to go back to the sin of Maraz earlier, the curse of Maraz. We need to instead focus on the truth and proclaim it boldly. You have to have a conviction. Like, you're not allowed to have convictions today, right? But you must. Now is the time. You must have a conviction that life begins at conception. Now, we can have humility on how to best achieve that end nationwide, right? It's the how where the humility enters the picture. But knowing what is true, there's no room, no middle. Knowing what is good, knowing what is righteous. And we are called to be all in on these issues. Otherwise, what good are you? James 1:5 says, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach. And it will be given to him. Wisdom will be given to you. We need to pray for it. But let him ask in faith with no doubting. For the one who doubts, and this is who Christians have become because of Christian leaders, have allowed us, so many people, to be like this. The one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. Don't be that guy. Don't be driven and tossed by the wind of our culture. Don't be like this person. About Taylor Swift is this person. Guys, I want to throw up the Taylor Swift. Pro-LGBT. Pro-choice. That's the real Christianity. Okay? That's culture. There's your culture. Okay? There's your getting tossed back and forth. There's your getting tossed around. There's your going with the flow. There's your not offensive take. You want to be not offensive? There it is right there. It's also wrong. It's not offensive. I'd rather be right even if it's offensive. I got 1 minute left. Before I was a Christian, I didn't believe any of this stuff. I started to ask questions about creation and evolution. I realized that evolution is the most ridiculous thing ever created. It's like so stupid. It's like the stupidest idea ever conceived of ever, that we just came from something from nothing. It's like ridiculous. So then I started to learn about creation. And then I thought, okay, like there's God, creator. Okay, what else does this God say about things? Like what else? And then you read your Bible and you realize it's all in there. It's all in there. And you realize that God punished people for not obeying everything he said to a T. Like, hey, Moses, you hit the rock twice. Hey, man, you touched the ark because you didn't carry it the way that I told you to carry it. Hey, Israelites, you didn't kill all the men, women, and children like I told you to. And terrible things happened to the people who did not obey. God is a God of conviction. And we need to be too. The Bible's not sort of true. Jesus wasn't just a man who walked around and said some smart things. We're not born good and maybe make a few mistakes. No, those are all wrong. That's what people on the left believe. And if you're in the middle, you're no good on any of those things either. We got to be grounded in truth from the start. And if that means getting involved in politics now and again, well, yeah, of course. But it's standing for the truth. And that's what matters more than anything. Mike Slater, First TV. Spread the word.